It's that very special time of a Friday morning where we catch up with the lovely Bill Carne for our Pembrokeshire Sports Update. A very good morning to you, Bill.
Good morning. It's a long time since I've been called lovely. Thank you, Gina. You yeah, I've been called some things, but not lovely.
Not lovely.
It's nice to be with. It's nice to be with you. It's lovely on a Friday.
No,
Yeah.
it's one of my favourite things that I do in the week is to catch up with all things Pembrokeshire sports. So thank you, Bill, for compiling all of this information because I know we say it every week, but there's so much every single week, and this is like the relatively mainstream ones at that, isn't it?
We're scratching the surface, Tom. And I think we could be saying safely to people, if you want something talked about, just drop you or Gina or me an email, and we're happy to discuss things. There's so much going on that's good. It's wholesome, it's healthy, it's fresh, so it's lovely. Yeah.
It is great. And good morning to Adam Billington, who's
Yes.
watching us at the moment as well. Bore da. And Bill, let's jump straight in. Yesterday, I found myself with Tony Pennock, the
Yes.
manager of Haverfordwest County AFC. They have got a very difficult month ahead. They don't have a home fixture in the month of November, and they start their travels tomorrow. Is that right?
Yeah,
No,
they're playing
tomorrow.
Town United tomorrow. Tom, it's the sort of league that there is no easy game. The sides at the bottom, which include Haverfordwest, sadly, other than Airbus, who come up this year and are really struggling, all the other sides in the bottom half could still get relegated. And it's a frightening thought. Haverfordwest, all right, they're 10th, but in terms of points, they joint better bottom. They're in 10th by dint of the fact they've got a better goal difference. And every game is tough. I mean, last year Flint played and came 5th. This year, they're, at the moment, they're 7th in the table. And, they're a very useful side.
And they are indeed. And of course, Haverfordwest are on the back of, is it 4 losses on the bounce now as well? And of course, against the New Saints last weekend, just that professional edge is what I'm going to call it. Just saw the New Saints take it over, lapses of concentration, costing Haverfordwest dearly.
Yeah, their first goal was a foul. I mean, Ryan Evans, who takes photographs there, has the beautiful picture of the centre forward very casually stopping the Haverfordwest goalie from getting at the ball, Zach Jones, by holding his arm down. The ball went straight into the net, 1-0. And it's hard there, but they're a good side as well. They play lovely football. And Flint will be just the same. I got a question to ask you guys. I love looking at the names of the grounds and things, So I've given you a chance to revise. I told you in my role as a teacher, always send homework to your students. Do you know where they play? Do you know where Flint play?
Well, I'm going to give this one to Tom because it's a very Welsh name, I believe.
I'm going to go with Kaya Castell.
Yeah, it's a great name.
Yes, that sounds good, that one.
Yeah, do you know what it's named now? It's been known 100 years, Kaya Castell. It's now known as the Essity Stadium because Essity are a company apparently who sponsor them. They've got to have the money, but it doesn't sound the same, does it?
No.
Essity Stadium, yeah. So there we are, yeah. And Gina, I'll ask you a question now.
Yep.
What colours, I'll give you a clue, do Flint play in?
I know this one actually because I've done my homework. It's black and white stripes and red socks.
That's right, black shorts as well, red socks.
And a black shorts.
Go to the top of the class because you deserve that above Tom, yeah. Their manager's Lee Fowler. He's well respected in the Premier, the JD Cymru Premier. And their nickname is a strange one. I did give it to you as a revision thing. Do you remember what they called that? And if you ask me why, I couldn't tell you.
So I know this one. So I know there is a Silkman, but I was going to ask you why the Silkman, but we don't have that answer, do we?
No. Well, we'll set the public a bit of homework now. If you know why they called the Silkman, contact us now. Silkmen plural. Contact Tom and Gina this morning. And let us know. It would be nice to know.
Yeah, if you find out, put it in the comments now. We'll put it on the screen and we'll share it with everyone.
Yeah, and good luck to Tony Pennock and his guys. Tony is a very committed, very intelligent, knowledgeable football guy. If anyone can pull them out, it's him. But it's not easy. It's not easy.
No, not easy at all. And then sticking with football, Hakin, who've been flying the flag for Pembrokeshire football, they had their match against Trostre postponed last weekend. But this weekend, they play Trustor again, but in a different competition.
Yeah, no, it's the same competition.
Oh, it's the
sorry.
same competition.
Yeah, it's getting more complex by the week. They were due to play 2 weeks on the trot in the FAW Cup and in the West Wales Intermediate Cup.
Right.
The FAW was supposed to be in last week, the West Wales this week. Of course, there's an order of precedence in sport, always, isn't it?
Right.
So the game was postponed last week. That takes precedence over the West Wales Cup this week. So this week they're playing Trostre still, but in the game they were supposed to play last week, the FAW.
FAW, yeah.
Next week they can't play the other one because Higgin had drawn at home to Hollywell in the Welsh Cup. They're coming all the way down from North Wales. That takes precedence also over the West Wales. So they play in the West Wales League in November. Work that out if you can.
Wow.
Goodness me.
I know. Try and keep up to date with that one. Yes,
I was
Gina.
going to say, never mind legwork. That's a lot of head work involved in that as well.
Do you know, get the biggest headache with that is the Pembrokeshire League. Because
Yeah.
their
Yes.
fixtures with the Pembrokeshire League Division 1 are falling further and further behind.
Well,
That'll be 4 weeks in 6 that they can't play because they're doing so well. Amazing team at the moment.
yeah, well, that's exactly the point I was going to make, because, of course, the league has to finish by a certain date next year, doesn't it? And if you have all of these delays and you've had all these other cup games that take over, Haken might well end up having to play 3 games a week, evening games, and towards the end of the season.
I mean, Goodwick, when they've been top, have had to do that sometimes. Merlin's Bridge had to do it 1 year. And going back to sides like Fishguard when they were the top, they might have to play sort of 9 games in 2.5 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And then looking at the Intermediate Cup, then we've got more cup games. We've got some home games and some away matches as well for some Pembrokeshire sides. Bill, what's your pick? What are you looking at in those matches?
Well, I'm going to go to Goodwick United against Clydach, partly because I like watching a good football inside, but partly because they've got a stand and the weather isn't good. At my age, I do not stand out in the pouring rain. But for those people who are interested, want to watch a bit of local football, there's no rugby on. They might want to stay out and watch. The home games are Merlin's Bridge are at home to Roxburgh. That'll be a good day, hard side Roxburgh. Neyland entertain Ragged School, so I hope Neyland have a good start there. Penna Robbins played home to Lucha, and St Clair's home to Mountain Swifts. We can't call it a local derby, but it's a Pembrokeshire derby.
It's a Pembrokeshire derby,
Yeah.
And all the others are away then. Gina's side, Carew, are playing at Cwm Wanderers. And then there's other games. Milford Athletic travel to Gwasainon. Clarbison Road the same with Llangennech, and Tenby play at Anis Tower Athletic. So plenty of football, that's for sure.
There is. Now, Bill, we've mentioned comparing the rugby and the football sides together. The rugby, the away fixtures in these cup games aren't getting the same following, and the clubs are falling out of favour. What's the difference between this West Wales Intermediate Cup, like the attitude towards it and the attitude towards the rugby?
Well, I think the point is that it's a pure draw. It's taken out, every round is out of the hat. So you don't have clubs feeling aggrieved because they're playing 2 away games out of 3, and others are playing 1 away game out of 3. There's an imbalance to it, not only in terms of fairness for points, but in terms of cost. These clubs are paying £600 for matches in, say, Bridgend. Now, the West Wales Cup doesn't take the Pembrokeshire sides that far. Swansea is the furthest. That's enough to travel. Yeah. But they know it's just the luck of the draw. If they have to travel, like, say, to Roxburgh, well, the next round they might have a home match. They might not. But it's fair. And I have to say, the Welsh Rugby Union one is born on stupidity. Yeah. They're not my favourite group, the Welsh Rugby Union. And our representative, Gordon Ainan, let me say, does a brilliant job. He's a wonderful ambassador for Pembrokeshire. But, I look at the way things are now. This weekend, Wales are playing, in my view, the top side in the world, New Zealand at Cardiff. The tickets are so expensive now that they're outside the price bracket. For a family of 4, it costs you £500. Now, that's a lot of money for an hour and 20 minutes of play. But where do you think it would be on? You think it would be on BBC, ITV, certainly on SPC? Where is it? Amazon Prime, my word.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a barrier to enjoying the national game, isn't it? Yeah. But we will stick with rugby, because as much as the WRU has its failings, Pembrokeshire Rugby is doing very well. There are no matches this weekend, but we've got representatives in the Championship, Narberth, still competing at that high level.
They are, and they're competing against other sides who have far, far greater sponsorship deals with big companies. They're playing against the likes of Bedworth, who are like that, and Pontypool, and sides that years ago Pontypool were the best side in Europe for a long time. And they're playing those underneath the same. When Kevin Phillips, our old friend, was captain there, they were feared in Europe. And they use the word feared correctly. And now you look at Narberth, they're fifth in that division. They've won 5 out of 7. The 2 that they've lost have been narrow defeats to top sides, Neath and Bedworth. And it's a terrific credit to Sean Gale, who's the head coach, and his other coaches to the team. There are a lot of youngsters have come through. Elan Phillips and Hayes Nicholas are still teenagers, or just 20. And they're playing now at this level and doing very well. So they're brilliant. And Crimmoch are second in the Division 1 West Championship as well. And if you look, Crimmoch, it is a local team. Their sort of unofficial team manager, Adrian Howells, who gives me the team every week. I always tease him because there are about 6 or 7 named Phillips and 4 named Davis. There's very few of them are related.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
now, I know that WRU is restructuring again, but Crimmoch, if they were to finish top of that Division 1 West, where would they go from there?
Well, if there's promotion this year, and I'm still not sure there will be, because you never know, then they would join Narberth in the Championship.
Oh, wow. That is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And they're set in Park Lloyd Thomas. It's a beautiful ground. One of the Voiles, one of the hills in Preseli's Voile, Druggan, is in the background. So you could almost imagine walking up there before the game or after the game on a nice spring evening. It's a lovely setting, and it's a great crowd. And Tenby are another side. They were amongst the top of the, if we call them amateur sides in the heyday. But they're doing well now. They're 5th in Division 2 West. And their manager, their coach, Jonathan Evans, is another very astute young fella, knows where he wants to go, is picking sides that are going to bring them on for 10 years. So, but then you go from there to Pembroke, who are really struggling in Division 1. And Geraint Lewis, their coach, would admit they're in the wrong division, really. They could have got relegated last year. They lost some experienced players. They're playing youngsters who are coming through now, but they're not quite ready for that level. And in the end, they're getting beaten 50, 60 points. That's no fun. But they'll come back. Hey, the Scarlets, a great side, the Crickmahon, they'll come back as well. And Milford is starting to show signs of a comeback in that higher level as well, in Division 2. So they'll get better as well. Fishguard are 8th in that division. So we've got teams, Whitland not playing well as they have done in the past, but will come back in Division 1. We've got teams playing at the high levels. And then if you go down to Division 3 West, who'd ever have thought that I'd be saying to you, in the table at the moment, ahead of Haverfordwest, Pembrokeshire, Harlequins, Neyland, is St. David's, who are 5th.
David's, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Isn't it wonderful? That's how sport should be. You've got ups and downs. You enjoy the ups, put up with the downs, really.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. So they've all got a bye week this week, so they can, well, if they've got Amazon Prime, they can enjoy the rugby. If they've opened up their bank accounts, they can enjoy Wales v New Zealand. And then looking then, Bill, at the indoor cricket, that's still going at a plumb. Fraser's happy.
They tell you what, he talks a good game of indoor. He's still not playing. He's still ducking. He was there watching them play, so we had a good chat about his cricketing involvement. I'm still trying to show him how to play shots that are straight rather than on the jump. But he's a good lad. Anyway, Llan Ryan in the men's. Llan Ryan beat Pembrokeshire 94 for 4. 47 all out. Ewan James had 35 not out for Llan Ryan. He's a good player. And a sad moment there for both of you. Owen Hughes took 2 for 17 for Pembrokeshire in that. And he's a lovely young fella. It was his 17th birthday the day before he played there. And when he went into bat, he went for a quick single, was sent back by the batsman at the other end, tried to turn, twisted, fell to the floor, and had to go to hospital. He had to have an operation. He's had a suspected broken fibula and some ligament damage as well. And he's hugely well thought of by his teammates because he's such a nice guy. So to Owen, we'd say this morning, all the best. And
wish you well.
The only good thing you can say at 17, he's got plenty of time to come back, and he will.
Yeah.
But that's again the downs of sport, isn't it? You
Yes.
never
But then
expect to get-
you've got to do the rest and the rehabilitation to
Yes.
come back to it then, haven't you? You've got to do it properly.
Yeah, and his mum was there in
Yeah.
a flash, and she took him up, and she looked after him, and in the end, good luck to Owen Hughes. That's all we can say, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
then the Pembroke Dock 18 scored 106 for 1 and beat in Nayland 99 for 5. When Nayland
Ooh.
got that score, you'd think, the Dock might struggle with that. But I said he won by 7 runs in the end. Nayland chased well. Tom Grimwood and Rhys Daly had 25 and had to retire then for the Dock. And George Evans at 44 not out for Nayland. It looked as he retired, came back as the last man. Hit some 4s. All of a sudden you think, hey, they could win this. But he got run out then when they were 7 short in the last over.
Oh.
And in the last game, sad this Haverfordwest at one time were alongside Nayland as the best 2 teams. They actually got the Lords once and they're a good side. They're struggling now. There's the Downs of cricket. They were 25 all out in 5 overs.
Wow.
And Nayland were 26 for naught in 2.1 overs. Brad McDermott Jenkins hit a 6 to end the game in style. And I'm not being smart when I say it, but it's probably the quickest game of indoor cricket that I've ever known. That took 7 overs out of the
7
20.
overs.
And and fair play to Haverfordwest. They turn up. Ashley James captained them because the captain Chris Phillips is in Dubai, I think, getting married. And he was out there. So sad days for Haverfordwest, but they'll come back.
Yeah, because like the Haverfordwest weekend game has struggled over the they got relegated for the first time in forever. Like what's happened to that enthusiasm at Haverfordwest?
Well, there's mixed causes like in every club, but one of the ones I would list is that they've lost key players. Simon Holiday went up the line the year before, the best player in Pembrokeshire without a doubt. He went. There's a couple of their players who've reached the age where they got. Danny Potter has been excellent captain. His youngster Maddie was playing indoor with the ladies in Nayland this week. She's only about 14. She's brilliant, and Danny now wants to see his kids play.
Yeah.
So his cricket is, and at the age where perhaps he doesn't want the sort of commitment every week. Ben Field is the same. He's just got a job with the FAW where he has to travel to North Wales and up to Carne regularly. He's got youngsters, and in the end, that's what tends to happen. And it's happened to Haverfordwest in a bunch.
Yeah,
So,
no, it sounds it. Lots of factors. You just mentioned Maddie there. The women. Oh, sorry, Gina, you were gonna.
No, I was going to say with the Haverfordwest side then. So is there a lot of young players that have come in? And is it the lack of experience at the moment?
Absolutely. If you look at now, I think you would say probably 5 years ago, every Haverfordwest player could get into virtually every other side in the county.
Yeah.
You couldn't say that now. And they got the Harrison Allen Boat final last year. They had the luck of the draw. They had a good draw.
Yeah.
But they got there, and these youngsters have played in a Harrison Allen Bowl final, which I never did. And in the end, they will come back.
So give them a couple of seasons, couple of years, and they'll be back up there. It's just that gelling as a team again and the experience behind them.
That's right. Other sides have been relegated. Carew, Preseli, Nayland, they've all been relegated to some time. They'll come back.
It's just their cycle. And then very quickly then, Bill, but before we talk about the event that's coming up at the end of the month, the Women's Indoor Cricket League has also continuing at a pace as well.
Wednesday that was on, and Sam Ross is doing a wonderful job, as Patrick Hannon is with the fellas, in organising it. We've got to say a huge congratulations. Here we go, the ups now. Pembroke B had lost every game so far, quite heavily, some of them, and they won their first game on Wednesday.
Woo!
So
well done.
That's
great.
And their A team won as well, and their A team's only previous win was against the B team. So there's a lot of work going on there with Luke Butler and Jack Harris and Rob Davis in coaching the ladies. They're the keenest team you'd ever come across. When they play, the others are all there cheering them on, and they're brilliant. So they only scored 51 all out against St. Ishmael's. Nirvana Thomas, what a great name, Nirvana Thomas had 30 of those. And then they bowled St. Ishmael's out for 46, so they won by 5 runs, low scoring. Jodie Lewis took 2 for 11, so that was great. Nayland had beaten them in their earlier game quite comfortably, 78 for 4 to 42. And in that, Jade Major had 25, retired. And Beth Chapman took 3 for 8. That's a big score, isn't it?
That is a big score.
And in the other games then, Nayland beat Pembroke A, and Pembroke A beat St Ishmael's again. So it wasn't a good night for Tish. They lost 2-0 and 1-2. And in that Tish, Lucy Patterson had 30, but it was Leanne Panton and Ginny Davis had 27 each for Pembroke. So, yeah, it's nice to see games, with teams starting to get better.
Mixing it up a little bit. And talking of mixing up, on the 25th, if my memory serves me correct, I think that's right, the Sport Pembrokeshire Awards will be taking place at the Follies Theatre. Bill, are you going to be there?
I'll be on stage, Tom, for the, I don't know if it's the 5th, well, I've done them every year and I love doing it. Yeah. It's an exciting time. All the judging has been done by a panel now. Yeah. And I've got the job now of reducing the marvellous things that people do to about 100, 110 words. But I can reassure people who have sent in nominations, every nomination has been dealt with on the merits of the nomination. My job is only an exercise to help the evening. If you were reading out, 500, 600 words of praise for someone, it'd be a long evening, wouldn't it? And that's, it's just getting that balance.
Yes, so, no, you're right.
It's all in. And Tom, you're going to be there, I think, interviewing.
I am going to be there, yes, and very much looking forward to it as well. It'll be my first one, so I'm looking forward to it, particularly because I get to catch up with you every Friday. I feel like I know probably a big proportion of the nominations or nominees already, so very much looking forward to being there. And you mentioned last week there's a buffet, so
there we are. Be happy with that then.
Yeah, and as well, if you're of that sort, I used to be. I don't know if I am now after COVID. The fairground is open for an hour beforehand as well. Folly Farm are wonderful supporters of this event. They always have been. And the nice thing with the buffet, I mean, Gina, if you had time, it would be lovely to see you there. It'd be nice to have a bit of glamour instead of these old boys with beards on it.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
No,
Bill,
it's a special evening.
It is. I'm looking forward to it. I've heard all about it. I'm very much looking forward to experiencing my first one. Bill, thank you so much as ever for your time on a Friday morning. Have fun at Goodwick watching them against Clydach under the shelter of their grandstand. And should we do it all again next week?
Indeed. Grandstand's a little bit of a misnomer, I think.
Bill, it's then there's
shelter.
Yeah. Bill, it's Feel Good Friday. What have you got for us today? I know that you've talked previously about your poetry love, and I think you've picked something quite close.
Well, I picked a song today that I used to use with kids in school to show that poetry isn't confined to, like the Tennysons and Brownings and Wordsworths, but there are modern poets in song. And one of my favourites for years has been Yesterday. I love the lyrics of that by the Beatles. Paul McCartney sings that, and I think it's a special one. So Yesterday by the Beatles.
It's on the way. Thank you so much, Bill, as ever. It's 7:30 here on the Gina and Tom Breakfast Show with Bill with the Pembrokeshire Sports Update right here on Pure West Radio.
Feel Good Friday with Pem's Paving. Your one